Hello, my name is Madi and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So for today's video, I'm going to be going over all the books I read in the month of September. And I'm not going to lie, I have never failed a TBR quite so hard in my life. Yeah, I just wasn't feeling anything on my TBR and like, that's okay. I wasn't quite feeling anything on my TBR, like I kept just DNFing all these books. So hopefully I have better luck next month, but let's go over the books I did read this month. One of the last books I read in the month of September was Lady of Darkness, and I actually really like this book. It is about a girl named Scarlet who grew up in an assassin's guild, and she's trying to protect her sisters, and these children are going missing / murdered, and she's trying to figure out why, and like there's so much just kind of happening plot-wise in this book, so it's kind of like hard to keep track and explain, but it was really great. I really enjoyed it. I had an awesome time reading it, and I'm very excited to keep reading the series. I ended up giving it 4.5 stars. I really like the romance in it as well, so I'm very excited to see where the rest of the series goes. The next book I ended up reading was Shadow Kiss, which is a vampire romance. This girl is taken in by like a powerful vampire, and people are after her, and she's trying to figure out why people are like trying to kill her. It was very entertaining and fun for what it was, and I really just had a good time reading it. The next book I read was The Reluctant Bride by Monica Murphy. I really like Monica Murphy, and this series just kind of continues to prove that she's just like a really great author in my opinion. It happens in the world of the Lancaster prep series as well, so the female main character is a Lancaster, and the main male character has to like marry her because of like her power, her status, so on and so forth. And this is a trilogy, and the entire trilogy follows this couple, and I didn't know that at the time, so the book ended and I was just kind of like, that's it? That's all? But it turns out like the whole series is about them, so I'm very excited because the Lancaster prep series, each book follows a different couple, so I'm excited to see how she manages to draw out this couple, because I really like the position they're in right now, and I just think it's going to be so entertaining to keep reading this. The next two books I read were Dante and Joey by Sadie Kincaid. I really like these, and I am shocked that I had not read Sadie Kincaid earlier. I just had a really great time reading them. They're mafia romances. The first one is a arranged marriage between the head of the mafia, and another girl, and the second book is like a brother's best friend. I'll definitely keep looking into Sadie Kincaid books. I read Darius, which is the prequel book to the Black Dagger Brotherhood series. It is about Beth's father Darius and kind of like how he met her mother and what happens, and I ended up giving this one 3 stars. Obviously, if you've read any of the books, you know what happens to Darius, so it was very sad, but I think like because I knew it wasn't like as emotionally of an impact, but I did really like it. I did like the characters a lot, and I just thought it was really interesting just to kind of see how it all happened. Beth reflecting later on in life about like everything that had happened, because her parents died before when she was a baby, so I just thought it was very well done. I read the second book in the Star Chaser saga, which is Dawnstar. I really like this series. I think it's very interesting. I did think the second book did follow a bit of second book syndrome. I ended up giving it 4 stars, but I will keep reading the series. I just think the premise is very interesting. The world building is very interesting. I do really like the characters, but it just kind of like suffered a little bit of second book syndrome, so I am going to keep reading the series. I read The Beauty of Darkness, which is a reread for me. I really love this series. Looking back now, I think the third book is way too long for what it is. I think about probably like half of that book could have been cut. I don't know why it is as long as it is, even though it is very well done, and I really do appreciate it for what it is as a YA fantasy book, and I just really liked it, but like the first half was like so unnecessary for the most part. Like the middle part was just nothing to like write home about, I guess. But overall, I really do love the series, and hopefully I eventually get to read Dance of Thieves soon. So the next book I have is Bonded by Thorns, which is a Beauty and the Beast retelling. It is about a girl whose father goes missing, and she's trying to find him, and she ends up in a enchanted cursed castle with these 4 fae princes, one each of them is a prince of like a different season, and they're trying to break the curse and find their true loves, their mates. This book is on the slower side, so I thought it was kind of cool how they did that. I don't think anything was rushed, and I am excited to keep reading the series to see where it does go. The third book is also coming out very soon, so I'm ready. The next book I have is Forget Me Not by Julie Soto. I had such a fun time reading this book. I gave it 4.5 stars. So the female main character, Amma, is a wedding planner, and the main character is Elliot, and he is a florist, so they have to work together for this big wedding. They have met before. It is a second chance romance, and I really enjoyed this book. I really thought the characters had a lot of depth to them, which I really appreciated, because it could have just been this like little fun rom-com, even though there were definitely some funny parts to it, but it felt a little bit deeper than that. Julie Soto is an author I will definitely be following from here on out. Ooh, I really did read some good books this month, even though I like failed my TBR so impossibly hard. The next book I ended up reading was Butcher and Blackbird by Bryn Weaver. I really liked this book. It is a dark serial killer romance, so both of them are a bit like serial killers and psychopaths, and just really fun time reading it. It is extreme, I'm not gonna lie. It is a bit grotesque. It's just like, it's a bit out there, but I had a really good time reading it. I thought it was really entertaining, and I'll keep reading this series. A next book I am so ordering a physical copy of, because I absolutely loved it, and it is A Ship of Bones and Teeth by Karina Halley. I am just the biggest Karina Halley fan. If Karina Halley fan has 100 fans, I'm one of them. If she has 1 fan, I'm one of them. If she has no fans, I'm dead. I'll be honest. I'm a huge fan of her right now. Basically, it is about a Little Mermaid retelling, basically what happens after, you know, Ariel becomes a human and gets her legs. And I just really liked it. I thought it's about pirates and almost kind of these vampire-like things, and magic and fantasy and like family and friendship, and I just really like this book a lot. I just think Karina Halley is such a great writer, and I am just such a huge fan of her, and she just continues to blow me away. It is also a standalone fantasy romance book as well, and I just had a great time reading it. The next book I read this month was A Kingdom of Shadows and Stars by Holly Renee. Again, I had such a great time reading this book. Oh my gosh, it is a vampire romance as well, and there are these people called Starblessed, and vampires feed off of them, and the more powerful the Starblessed is, the more powerful the vampire is, so on and so forth. And the female main character is Starblessed, and she has to marry the crown prince, but she doesn't really like him, and she's very drawn to his kind of like his brother, who's not very accepted. He's a bit of an outcast, if you will, but overall I just had such a great time reading it. So it is a bit enemies to lovers, and the fantasy is really great, the romance is really great, and I just think I had such a great time reading it. I'm so excited to read the second book. I'm literally ordering physical copies of the series because I had loved it so much. The next book I read was My Temptation by T.L. Swan. Again, I am the biggest T.L. Swan fan out there. This is about a girl who hooks up with this guy. They had a really great night together, and like that's it. They had this huge like falling out, and she ends up moving next door to him, and they do not get along in any way, shape, or form. And there's a lot of bickering and just like banter, and I just think T.L. Swan is such a fun writer when it comes to banter and like witty humor. So if you like that in your books, definitely recommend checking out T.L. Swan in this book for sure. And again, it is a bit more enemies to lovers, even though they've had this like little affair, if you will, and I just really like the characters. I just really like T.L. Swan in general, so maybe I'm a bit biased, but I had a really great time reading this, so highly recommend. I ended up giving it 4.5 stars. The last book I read this month was In a Jam by Kate Canterbury, and I absolutely love this book as well. I ended up giving it 4.5 stars, and it was just such a fun book. So basically it's about this girl, and in her like aunt's will, she is supposed to inherit this farm, but in order to inherit it, she has to be married, and the man who has been running it agrees to marry her. He has custody of his niece. Female main character is Shay, who's supposed to inherit this farm, and Noah is the boy who is like handling the house and such, and it turns out that he had loved her in high school and she never knew it was him. And just the way this book ends is just so beautiful, and I really loved it so much, and I think everything just pulled really well together is guess what I'm trying to say. So overall, I just had such a great time reading it. I ended up giving it 4.5 stars, and again, Katie Canterbury is going to be one of those authors that is definitely going to be on my radar. And that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. If you like this video, please feel free to like and subscribe, and let me know your favorite book that you read in the month of September down below. And I hope you have a great day. Goodbye.